State your name for the record, please.
David Anthony Chavez.
Can you tell me about how you first met Miss Grego?
So we were working Legal Shield together under our boss Keith Watson, and it's Legal Shield is selling legal plans, and she was placed under me as like a level below me, and really was a go-getter and getting all those sales and such, and that's how I originally met.
Can you tell me about Mr. Grego and how you met Mr. Grego?
Went over to Monica's and she introduced me to him, and when I went there he wasn't very talkative. He was on his PlayStation playing games with a headset on and not paying any attention anywhere else, and but at least I shook his hand and I said, "Nice to meet you," and that's how I met him.
And what kind of parent do you think Miss Grego is?
I see that she is very loving, attentive, and there's nothing she won't do for her children.
How do you see Mr. Grego as a parent?
Neglectful, abusive.
And can you state how you see him as neglectful and abusive?
Well, for one, he doesn't pay any attention to Holly, but he'll pay plenty of attention to Esmeralda. At the same time, he will order pizza over cooking them a home-cooked meal. And, kids don't always need pizza. I mean, that's kind of should be like once a month kind of thing, not every night.
Can you tell me about All Faiths? All Faiths has an allegation saying that you punched Mark in the stomach. Mr. Grego, sorry.
I've never done any kind of touching to him other than shaking his hand or giving him a fist bump. So I don't know where All Faiths got that from, but I've never punched him or assaulted him in any way, shape, or form.
Was there any time that you helped Miss Grego protect her children from Mr. Grego?
Yeah, so a couple of times Mark would get troubled with Esmeralda, get irritated, and at one point I saw him dragging her out of the bedroom by one arm, and I said, "Don't, let's tell him stop." And he stopped. And also, Esmeralda was screaming at one point, and Mark was telling her to stop. And
do you know why she was screaming?
I think I remember right. I think he took her iPad away for something, and she was mad and screaming. And so the first thing he thinks of doing is covering her mouth with his hand. And his hand's big, so he was covering her nose and her mouth. So I pulled his hand off. Once I saw that, I was like, "You're gonna suffocate her. What are you doing, man?"
And did you report that to any agency?
I told Monica about it, and we together reported it to CYFD.
And what did the department do about that?
Looked the other way. They didn't. CYFD didn't seem to care or think it was relevant.
And was there a safety plan that you were aware of?
I believe there was. There should have been. It should have been followed, but...
Who do you think followed the safety plan more, Miss Grego or Mr. Grego?
Miss Grego. She's... For one, Mark could not go a day, or actually 5 minutes, without yelling or barking a command at people, and I don't know, I always ask him this, like, when you're yelling like that, what does that accomplish? It just messes everything up, makes things worse.
Tell me about how Mr. Grego took care of the children when in your presence.
So Holly, he really did not pay attention to her very well. She has autism and she's not very vocal, doesn't say much, But had he taken the time and paid attention to her signs and the few phrases and words she does say, he would actually be an attentive and loving father to her, but he's not. And Esmeralda is the golden child. He could do anything for her. And I think he's just a little too close to her, though. Noticed that over the time I was there.
Do you think he has proper parental boundaries with Esmeralda?
No. One day we came back, Monica and I went to the store and we came back, and Esmeralda was laying between Mark's legs with her back resting on his crotch. And we put a stop to that right away. We told him, "What are you doing?" And then it seemed like he didn't have no problem with that. Like he didn't feel like he was doing anything wrong. And then about 20 or 30 minutes later, he took us both in the bedroom and said he had to tell us something. And we're like, "Well, what is it?" He says that Esmeralda had been touching him down there all day, and that he told her to stop. And we thought twice about it, and a 7-year-old is not going to think like that unless she's pressured to or forced to do something like that. And we believe he was telling her to do things like that. So Monica and I went and asked Esmeralda. Esmeralda disclosed that Mark was telling her to touch him down there.
So you do believe that the video that's on YouTube of Miss Griego questioning Esmeralda is accurate?
Yes.
You do believe that that was Esmeralda's true statement?
Yes.
And do you believe Mr. Griego should have the children in his care right now?
No. He orders pizza. He doesn't take the kids out to play. His idea of being a parent is sitting on his ass and barking orders or just not paying attention or anything like that. And the girls could get into something and he wouldn't even know until it was too late.
What else do you think doesn't make Mr. Griego a good parent?
The yelling. Another thing too is yelling when he doesn't get his way, pretty much like a child. Anger, the way he looks, slamming doors, punching things. It doesn't seem like he has really good control over his anger, and that could be a problem. So what if he misdirects that anger to the girls, or he's already tried to do that to Monica, or he's done that to Monica in the past. And,
Would you recommend Miss Griego have full custody of the children?
Yeah, that'd be an ethical and just decision. But CYFD seems to be favoring Mr. Griego for some reason, when he's the abuser, he's the pervert, he's the pedophile who is grooming Esmeralda and probably has already done something to Holly.
Can you speak a little bit more about grooming? What does grooming mean to you?
So,
how would you describe it?
I call grooming basically really buttering up a child, just making them trust you, making them feel like you got their back no matter what. You'll do anything for them, to which lulls the child into a safe sense of comfort, and that child's very comfortable. Then the grooming process furthers, and it could be into sexual things or groping, touching, further on and so forth.
Was there ever a time that Mr. Griego endangered the children in your presence?
Yes, at one point he did slam a door and tried to lock himself and Monica and Esmeralda in the room while he was trying to hit Monica, and I didn't let that happen, so I jarred the door open, and he was about to assault Monica in front of his own daughter. What kind of example of a good father is that?
Tell me about a time when you were able to intervene and protect the children.
That was one point, and also another point. Monica and I were taking the girls to the mall. We were gonna get Esmeralda's ears pierced, and Mark was yelling, and he saw us taking the girls, so he grabbed Esmeralda very hard by her arm, and she said, "Ow, it hurts," and to which I grabbed his arm and pulled it away, and he got up in my face, and I told him, he's like, "Oh, that don't touch my daughter," and I said, "Well, get out of my face."
Can you tell me who else was present?
Jessica, his therapist as well, and she saw this, and she asked, "Oh, you guys are taking the kids there? Are you coming back?" Well, yeah, we're not going to run off with the kids, but she saw the situation. She's tended to look the other way as well. I mean, she really didn't see any fault in Mark and Mr. Griego, and it.
Tell me about Esmeralda's counselor. I know there was a time when you and Miss Griego and the children were you guys were in a home. You were in a home that Bernadette Fuentes had put you in.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about Esmeralda's counselor and what do you think Esmeralda may have disclosed to the counselor?
That the Mr. Griego had told her that if she would say anything, that he would hurt her.
Do you think the allegations through all faiths are accurate?
Erroneous. All of them are erroneous.
Do you think they're false?
Yes.
We want to thank you for your time and thank you for this interview and thank you for your honesty.
Thank you.